Hey, what's going on everyone? It's Aaron Williams, and today we are going to be doing kind of a remaster, but bringing back a little series that I've only done 2 videos on. But I want to bring it back and change it up. My Thomas voice ranking videos. Now I've only done 2, Thomas and the narrators, and yeah, they're pretty dated, so I'm going to start with Thomas first, then I'm going to do Diesel 10, then James, then Gordon, then Percy, and the narrators, and more. So without further ado, let's rank all these Thomas voices from my least favorite to my most favorite. Let's get started. In last place is Ben Small. Okay, now Ben Small is the UK voice of Thomas, and he's been voicing Thomas from Hero the Rails to season 18. Hopefully I got that right. Now, Ben Small is like Susan Romain as James from Thomas and the Magic Railroad. The energy, the mannerisms are well done, but the voice itself is pretty off. The voice is way too high-pitched and squeaky for Thomas.
How wonderful! I'll see you later at the summer house.
Now, if this voice was like Percy, I'd be cool with that. Actually, I wouldn't. Actually, I think Ben Small would be a pretty good Percy. I would love to hear that. But again, I don't hate him. I mean, when it comes to voice actors, I don't want to use the word hate or saying the word they suck or they're ear piercing. That's just kind of mean. Because I do have a lot of positives for Ben Small. Like, again, he captures the energy, the mannerisms, the personality of Thomas, right? And he did get better in the Brenner era. So yeah, I'll give him that. He did improve.
I know a route we can take. We can go the Thomas way.
But yeah, Ben Small is a Thomas voice that really just doesn't resonate with me. Next is John Bellis, the original voice of Thomas from Thomas and the Magic Railroad.
Little engines can do big things.
So, with John Bellis, he's complicated because, yes, the voice is old sounding, but you know what? At the same time, I can actually see this voice working for like an older Thomas. Actually, come to think about it, you know how, we all know that Edward wasn't in Magic Railroad because, some people say that they don't have any screen time for him. Yeah, right, yeah, you can give him plenty of screen time. But anyway, I think John Bellis would do a good Edward. But anyway, back to Thomas. I do think this voice could work for Thomas if Thomas was more older. But because Thomas is still young, he's mature, but he's still young. The voice in particular, not really. But again, it's still not a terrible Thomas voice. Okay, and next we have Martin T. Sherman, the US voice of Thomas from Hero the Rails to season 18. Now, some people have said that his Thomas voice is so dull and emotionless. Okay, I find dull and emotionless a bit of an understatement. Alright, he is dull. Hi everyone, I'm Thomas. I'm the #1 blue tank engine. Welcome to the island of Sodor. Oh, bust my buffers, I did something terrible. Oh, cinders and ashes. That's dull. Martin T. Sherman is nowhere near dull.
I promise I will make you a really useful engine once more. I will make you master of the railway again.
And while yes, he could be a little more energetic, I still wouldn't consider him dull. He still has energy, and just like Ben Small, he got better and better when the Brenner era popped in.
Red pants, danger signal.
Yeah, I like Marty Sherman. I think he's a pretty good Thomas voice. Plus, I do have some nostalgia on him, but this nostalgia isn't the reason. I still like him. All right, so yeah, Marty Sherman, pretty decent Thomas voice. All right, next we have John Hasler, the UK voice of Thomas from Adventure Begins, all the way to season 24. And he has voiced Thomas in other stuff after season 24 ended.
You do have a big imagination, Toby. They're only trees.
John Hasler is my favorite UK voice of Thomas. Like, definitely a much better voice. Like, not only, of course, not only does he suit the personality well for Thomas, like his maturity, but the cheekiness. But that voice, that is a Thomas voice right there. That's a British Thomas voice. It really works so well with CGI Thomas, and I really enjoy his performance, and I could really tell John Hasler is having a ball with the role. So yeah, John Hasler did a really good job. But there are two other voices that I prefer. So let's get started with number 2, Joseph May, the U.S. voice of Thomas from Adventure Begins all the way to season 24, and a few Thomas projects that were after season 24. Joseph May has got to be one of the most developing voice actors of Thomas. It's probably the wrong way to word it, but I'll explain why I use the word developing. When Joseph May voiced Thomas in The Adventure Begins, his voice is a little bit higher pitched.
Wake up, lazy bones! Why don't you work hard like me?
But it worked because this is a 100% younger version of Thomas. Very cheeky, immature, clumsy, and rude, even though he wasn't really rude in Adventure Begins. I kind of wish he was. But anyway, it just really worked. And then when he voiced Thomas in like season 19 onwards, he changes his voice a bit to make it sound a bit older, like Thomas has matured.
You're right, Henry. James found the flying kipper very difficult when he pulled it.
I love that. That's a nice detail Joseph May does on Thomas's voice, and it really works well. And I just love his performance. Like, his voice really works a lot with Thomas. Like, whenever he's mature or when he's cheeky. I mean, Lost Treasure, he did a phenomenal job. Thomas in that movie. It's like a combination of mature Thomas, but like seasons 1 and 2 Thomas, and Joseph May did a phenomenal job with that. So yeah, great job, Joseph May. Okay, now, before we get to the number 1 pick, let's talk about some fan voices. That's right, this is going to be something new for the ranking videos. Before we get to number 1, I always include fan voices. Voices that the fandom has done that I love the most. Oh yeah, and this is my Thomas voice. So yeah, my Thomas voice, it's young, but it's also mature sounding. Like, that's what I want. It's a young voice that can also work for the cheeky nature of Thomas. Hey Gordon, wake up, lazy bones! But also works for the mature side of Thomas, when he's grown as a character. I just love voicing Thomas so much. So, there are a few voices of Thomas that the fans did a great job. Stitch Underground, The Amazing Gamer 111, Trampy, and the Magic River parody voice. All 4 of them did a phenomenal job of voicing Thomas. They both captured the maturity of Thomas. Well, Trampy's Thomas he still has a lot to learn. But I mean, Trampy Thomas has matured. Kind of. But anyway, but like I said, all 4 of them really captured the cheeky, fussy, sometimes rude side of Thomas, but also they captured the mature side of Thomas of how much he's grown as a character, and they did a great job. And with Stitch Underground says, like, yeah, he told me that like his voice is based on Eddie Glenn, and while I do hear it, like Stitch's natural speaking voice, I think it really works with Thomas really well, and he did a great job with it. Real good job. The Amazing Gamer puts a lot more maturity into Thomas's voice. I think I remember. Yeah, he told me that he took some inspiration from John Bellis, which I do hear, and It's a voice where it's not too old sounding, but it's perfectly mature. And I love that. He did a great job. Trampy, oh my gosh, Trampy does a phenomenal job of this a-hole, cheeky, cynical, just a complete jerk. Like, Trampy does a phenomenal job with it. Oh my goodness. Thomas made me laugh. Like, Trampy Thomas, there were so many moments where he made me laugh. Trampy did a phenomenal job with the voice. Oh man. Definitely the best season 1 and 2, you know, Thomas voice kind of. Like, that's basically Thomas, you know, season 1 and Thomas. It's perfect.
Well, it was a piece of shit anyway.
Oh yeah, the voice of I don't know his name, but the voice of Thomas from the Magic World parody did also a phenomenal job. Such a unique voice, but also capturing both sides of the character. Especially in a parody, he still did a phenomenal job. So yeah, great job. But of course, number 1 is the one and only Eddie Glenn. Okay, Eddie Glenn. When I think of a Thomas voice, Eddie Glenn comes to my mind. Eddie Glenn captures everything we love about Thomas. The cheekiness he gives Thomas.
5, 6, 7, 8.
Who do we appreciate? Practicing your numbers, Gordon. That's a good engine.
The mature side of Thomas.
Come on, lady. Little engines can do big things.
The scared side of Thomas.
What if it's dark
It will be for a while.
and cold?
Maybe.
And how will I get back again?
And the anger of Thomas.
Bossy sprockets. All that steam has gone to your funnel.
All of that. Really it's perfect. But yeah, overall, Eddie Glenn, my favorite Thomas voice of all times. But tell me, who is your favorite Thomas voice? Tell me in the comments down below. And I hope you all have a wonderful day. And I'm looking forward to do more of these ranking videos in the future. So, as always, people, be really useful.